fit your face, they frame you well. She goes, did anyone tell you they're bright red? I was like, no, nobody told me. I got to work and my head bartender at the time just looked at me and he slowly said the words, Sally, Jesse, Raphael. And I like took him off and threw him in the garbage.
So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil runs his groove in them rhythm and blues that sound. It's gonna get you son in the end.
Welcome back to the Speakeasy. I'm Souther Teague.
And I'm Greg Benson. And Souther, you're back, man. It's been a minute. We've both been out and about in the world. Where have your travels taken you to?
I mean, actually, I didn't really go anywhere. I just had a lot to do and I couldn't be on the last two episodes. That's all.
I was setting you up to lie, man. You could have been like, oh man, like I was on this wild trip out in Sri Lanka, got mixed up in this whole diplomatic thing, had to track down a Maltese falcon. It was wild. You'll hear all about it on the upcoming episode of Sauced. Subscribe now. Right. All right, fine. You haven't been traveling anywhere, Souther, but you know who is traveling somewhere? A special little mini guest we have before we get to our main show today. Joining us from Kansas City, you may have heard him on a Boomerang episode we did last year from Jay Rieger and Company. It is Ryan Mabey. Ryan, what's going on, man?
Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you, brother. I know that you're planning something epic, and that's why we have you on. We want to hear about what you're planning. What's about to happen to you?
Well, speaking of travel, I travel a lot for work, but it's become a pretty rare thing for me to travel for fun. And so this is coming up here in the very near future. I'm about 2 weeks out right now. Myself and some good friends of mine in the industry out of Washington, D.C. are doing a team adventure race in the Shenandoah Mountains called the Shenandoah Epic. And it is a 24-hour race with different multiple legs of like different methods of travel, from trekking in the mountains to mountain biking to canoeing, all told over 100 miles over the course of 24 hours.
And what on earth would motivate one to do such a thing?
I think it's the adventure. I have a long history with stuff like this, but it's been a while since I've actually committed to something, a challenge like this. But many years ago, I did a lot of high altitude alpine climbing. I climbed Kilimanjaro in Africa, Aconcagua down in Argentina, a ton of 14ers in the Rockies. So it's been a long time, but I kind of wanted to get back into that kind of condition and challenge myself. And these guys, Trevor, Josh, Frank, my teammates, have been doing this for a while, and it just sounded really exciting and fun.
Break down some of the mechanics of the thing. Like, how does it work? You mentioned you're going to be trekking, canoeing, biking, and the three of you, it's a relay. You've all got to get it done. Relay. How's it work?
It's a team race, and so we are registered as a team. Our team name is Blood, Sweat, and Beers. I'm hoping we get some T-shirts made up or something for that. But it starts on Saturday morning, and it begins with, I think, like the first leg is like a 15-mile mountain bike ride through the mountains. There's elevation gain and drops and stuff, and then it just kind of goes from there, where the next leg is, I believe, canoeing, maybe 8 or 10 miles, and then there's trekking. There's some orienteering involved. Like, they give you maps, like everybody on the team has a topographical map and compass and stuff, and like you have to find these checkpoints, and like the whole team has to check in, and the whole team has to finish as a team, or it doesn't count.
I kind of love this. I love that it is getting you back into touch with a lot of things that our phones have kind of replaced. Obviously there's the whole camaraderie, and how much have we talked even on this show, which is about cocktails, about like people can't connect anymore. But there's also something really fun about like, sorry, you can't spin around in a circle and see which way the little blue dot's facing. Here's a map.
That's one of the things that drew me to this more than anything, like just the adventure of being outdoors and, finding your way and challenging yourself. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous about it. These guys have done this stuff before. They've been telling me about it for a while, so I've been kind of excited to put myself into the mix.
Well, I mean, I'm super stoked for you. This sounds pretty incredible. And, you're such a leader in our industry. We're all going to be really excited to see the results. And then what we're going to do here at the Speakeasy is we're going to have you and your teammates back on the show to talk about how it went. So, all I can say is I'm rooting for you, and I'm wishing you all the best of luck.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the encouragement and the support, and I'm excited for it. And I want to hopefully encourage other people in our industry to turn off their phones, get outside, touch grass, do some things that really test our limits, and it should be a lot of fun.
Touch grass and then go canoeing for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Nothing to it. It's a snap.
Love it. Well, hey, good luck. Thanks for coming on the show. Souther, are we going to do this next year? Is that the plan? We're our own team Speakeasy.
Two-man team. It's you and me, pal. We're gonna do the thing on a mountain bike built for two.
Dude, your listeners would pay to see that. You got to do that.
So we're going to the Shenandoah. We're doing the Shenandoah Epic next year. But first, you know where we should go before that to really train, to really get into good shape for this? Staten Island.
We should go to Staten Island. And listen, 7 years ago, because of the pandemic, the Staten Island Ferry, which is one of the, if not the last remaining free public transportation options in America, stopped selling alcohol on board the ship.
It was a national tragedy.
Exactly. But here's the great thing. They just reinstated it. So now you can ride the Staten Island Ferry for free. Beautiful views of Brooklyn and the Statue of Liberty. And of course, on the return trip, beautiful views of Manhattan coming at you. If you go right at twilight, the city is lighting up. It's gorgeous. And now you can have a beer again. I take all my visitors on the Staten Island Ferry. It is one of the gems of New York City.
I know. It's beautiful. It's, as you said, it's free. You get to go to Staten Island and then leave Staten Island. Yeah. And now that they are serving beer and hard seltzer and I think RTD cocktails, the days of strapping a White Claw tall boy to your thigh with duct tape are officially over.
Excellent.
Souther, I meant to tell you this. I'm pulling together a clam pie crawl for the next couple months. I don't know if you know about this, Staten Island's delicacy, the clam pie, the white pizza topped with clams. Never had one. Very curious. I told this to someone and they said, that sounds terrible. And I said, well, that's what the crawl is all about, finding out.
Clam pies are actually quite delicious. I was really shocked just now when you said you've never had one.
Because I had never been to Staten Island until like 2 months ago.
You can get them here in the city as well. Like Motorino has a great clam pie.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Sure. You want to go to the home of the thing, right? Well, I want to go with you. But first, maybe we should sip some whiskey.
Yeah, let's sip some whiskey and let's bring in our guests while we're at it, because today we have a twofer. We've got the founder of Bearfight Whiskey and the CEO of Next Century Spirits, Anthony Moniello. And joining him and us, we have Bearfight creative partner, who you may recognize from his role on Suits. We have actor Gabriel Macht. Guys, it is great to have you both in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Our pleasure, Greg and Souther. Good to meet you guys. And the best clam pie, I'm sorry I have to weigh in,
There we go.
is Pepe's in New Haven. It's just, anything else after that that's the measuring stick. So just, if you're going to do the clam pie thing, start New Haven, work your way to Staten Island.
Ah, you're a New Haven head. There is such a loyal following of Pepe's. Okay.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you other ones. Sally's and Modern too, but the whole thing. You got to do it.
We got to add that to the crawl.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. Nice to meet you guys.
Great to have you as well. So let's get right into it. Because I want to talk first of all about small batch American whiskey, which seems to be having kind of you might call it a micro renaissance, even as alcohol sales overall are getting a little wobbly, which means that it's a very, very tough market to venture into right now. So what made you confident enough in the niche that Bearfight occupies that you were like, yeah, I'm going to pull the trigger on this brand. This is the time. Let's go for it.
Yeah, this is where history kind of worked in our favor and then maybe against it. But it was back in 2022 when I joined Next Century Spirits and took over as the CEO and said, hey, we need to find a category where we can be a best-in-class winner. And so what's that category? It's got to be a growing category. It has to be something we can do well, and whiskey is something we can do well. And we fell in love with the American single malt category. For years, the American single malt category, it was growing, not in huge numbers because it was a small base, but it was growing. It was getting defined. The follower base was there. And I thought there was a really unique way to democratize American single malt because it was also a lot of really expensive offerings in the space and unique offerings in the space. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we were creating our first brand as Next Century Spirits. And so it was going to define who we were as entrepreneurs, as craft creators, as beverage developers. And so we were trying to create some approachable whiskey that punched way above its weight. We wanted this to be a beautiful, beautiful liquid that punched way above its weight. And so there we were sitting around. I think there was 5 of us working at the company at the time saying, how do we create a whiskey that's going to catch everyone's attention, but could also live on everyone's bar, no matter how big or small that bar is. So that's how we approached this. We wanted to be a leader in a category, and American Single Malt was growing, but had no true leaders. This was before a lot of the big IPs, the Bullets of the world, were in the American Single Malt category. And so our master blender started creating what is now Bearfight American Single Malt. And we didn't have a name yet. We were creating just a best-in-class whiskey. That was our goal. We wanted just to make an amazing whiskey. The goal was to create, if there was a love child between bourbon and Scotch. And so we wanted the really nice buttery notes on the front, which ended up leading us to the sherry route, where we kind of created a sherry finish on the front. But wanted some of those smoke and peat elements of Scotch without being harsh. So we wanted to keep approachability. We wanted to be mixable. We wanted to be in all the fun cocktails you would expect, like an espresso martini with it or a classical old fashioned, but still be sippable on its own with a lot of character. We had it. It was Bearfight American Single Malt. But we didn't have a name, and we didn't know if people would like it. So our master distiller sent the samples to a ton of award shows, San Francisco, New York, etc. And he put Bearfight on the bottle because you have to have a name to submit it with. And he thought we were going to get mauled in these competitions. He was like, no one's going to want this. I mean, it's got different finishes. It's smoky and it's sweet and it's got all this character, but it's relatively young to the category. It's a 3-year-old. No one's going to want this. We did not know he put that on the label. That is now our name, by the way, because once we won all the damn awards, we couldn't take it back. So we ended up winning 96 points, double gold at the New York International Spirits Competition, 95 points in gold at the San Francisco International Spirits Competition, and then won top single malt 12 years or younger at the London International Spirits Competition. So started to really clean up. And we won other awards too, but we really looked at those 3 as real monikers. And then we were picked up by a Forbes top 20 whiskeys of the world article. And that's when we knew we had to start producing this thing, because the article I'll never forget, but it was Bearfight whiskey, price unknown, picture, there was no picture available. It was supplier somewhere in North Carolina. They really had no clue about us. No one did. And basically it was summed up as damn good whiskey you need to try if you can find it or if it even exists, something along those lines. And Uprocks picked it up in a few other articles. And that was the beginning of Bearfight. So I'd love to tell you, Greg and Souther, that this was some stroke of genius, but we wanted to make amazing whiskey. I mean, that was the goal. Amazing whiskey that would be disruptive, but also that everyone could enjoy. And we wanted to be a leader in a category. And that was the American single malt category that was growing, but was still immature compared to the rest of the category. And that's why we took the stab. Why we decided to continue to invest is because we believe new heritage is a thing. Like we're in a moment now where new brands can create new stories.
Well, heritage definitely has to start somewhere, right? And, you start building a legacy by laying brick at a time. But you're doing this with a process that you are calling Spirnova, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Can you talk a little bit about what Spirnova is and how you're using that to age the whiskey?
Yeah, and so Spirnova gets often misconstrued with rapid aging. I'm just going to say it out loud, and my PR team would be like, "Oh no, we said it." We consider, look, it's what everyone says. Oh, it must be rapid aging. For us, it is a tool in the toolbox of a distiller. It's phenomenal for secondary finishing, and it's an all-natural process. Basically, we're taking liquid, we're redistilling it by multiplying the interactions with organic matter. In this case, wood. Right? Just like you would get through a barrel. So American single malt and our bourbon are both 3-year-old whiskeys that we then redistill through our Spirnova process with wood that we're using for secondary finishing. So for the American single malt, we controlled the char level of the wood, the type of wood, and how we are soaking that wood. For instance, in this case, sherry finish or peat finish, etc., using those 3 elements. And so it is still a bourbon or an American single malt. It's still aged in those proper casks based on those proper definitions, but we use it as a way to pinpoint really unique flavor profiles that you can scale in a short amount of time. And so the technology was created to solve a problem in the industry in 17 and 18 when no one could forecast anything. We still can't forecast anything. It's just going the opposite way as it was before. As a way to be able to scale up or create just enough based on market demand. And we see it as a tool in the toolbox. We only use it when we need it. It's really great when we partner with master distillers that go, oh, this could be fun versus, oh, this can replace me. And nothing's replacing a master distiller. So it's just a way to impart the right flavors in an all natural way that's true to the wood or true to the organic matter if you're using a different flavor profile. Let's say chocolate nibs if you wanted a chocolate whiskey or something like that. But that's what Spirnova is meant to do. It's meant to be a real natural way to pinpoint flavors without using syrups and stuff like that.
So let's get a little inside baseball here. Where in the process does the wood come in the secondary distillation that you're talking about? Because I'm almost picturing kind of like a pechuga bag, like you do for mezcal, where like you're actually hanging, you take a barrel, you char it, you break it into little bits, and then you kind of like hang the bag in the still as it's distilling. That's kind of where my mind is right now. Now, I don't give away anything proprietary. I'm not asking for the secret recipe, your 23 herbs and spices, but however nerdy you can get in, I'm very curious where in the process this comes in.
I'll get a little nerdy, but 3 patents are fine. It's the trade secrets that keep us protected. So I'll get a little nerdy here. If you looked in our distillery, our facility down in outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, it looks like a distillery. I mean, the equipment, we actually retrofitted the tech through distillation equipment. It's a multi-chamber process where we have multiple interactions with organic matter, wood mostly, into the system. There's oaken containers that we do it through. We do it through staves, we do it through wood chips, but it's a very unique process based on the flavor profile we want. I'm going to stop there on the nerd level, Greg, because we could take hours on it, but I also don't want to get in trouble with my own legal. So I'm going to stop there with that.
No, Anthony, just continue. I'm really interested.
I like to share. I'm a sharer, so yeah. But it's unique. It's fun, and we test the boundaries.
So it sounds like you're getting a lot of accolades. How is the actual market responding to these innovations and all the things you're doing?
Yeah, so we don't approach our brands as let's go create a tech enhanced whiskey and create a tech enhanced whiskey section. What we really focus on is great liquid, great stories. And that's why Gabriel's here, and we'll talk a lot about the story of Bearfight. And from a sales perspective, we had a great year last year. We grew at 45%. We grew our distribution 57%, all those great things where we know if you give me 10 seconds of your time, learn about the brand for 10 seconds, taste one sip, that you're going to most likely become a fan of this brand, whether it's your everyday go-to or it's just a part of your repertoire. Give me 10 seconds and a sip. And so we live by that. How do we get people to try this as much as they can? How can we just talk? Give me 10 seconds of engagement, tell you about the brand, and you'll enjoy it. And so with that approach and being sub $50 for our expressions, it's really easy to take a chance on us. And once they do, it ends up being replenished on the bar. That's where we have landed with Bearfight. And that's what we wanted day one. We didn't know if we could get there. Because there is a lot, people say, well, it can't be that great if it's under $50. And we say, well, no, just give us 10 seconds of your time.
Bullshit.
So, yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
that's where we are. It's been a really fun brand for us. Now we want to be a big brand. That's the goal here. So the market has taken to it enough for us to really believe we have a long future.
Well, Gabe, I think this is the perfect spot to bring you into this. How did you first team up with Anthony on this project? And, just give us the sort of meet cute story. Where did you, as a known actor, come into I want to get into the whiskey game down in Raleigh, North Carolina?
Where do I start? I guess, so Suits, let's start with Suits. Had a nice long run, 9 seasons. It's a lot of work. It's, a lot of responsibility, very creative, extremely fulfilling. And I spent a lot of time away from my family. And at the end of the run, I really wanted to take a break from acting and see what other opportunities were out there for me. And I had a few brand ambassador opportunities along the way during Suits. And then sort of when it ended, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to see the world. I went to Scotland, and I went on this like incredible train trip around Scotland. And, you know, I basically drank whiskey and scotch the whole time, and it was an incredible education. It was awesome. I've been drinking whiskey for 30 years, but that was after COVID. I had a little time really just like spending with my family. And then Suits had a resurgence, and it became this wildly massive hit. It was already very popular overseas and in the States for what the USA Network was able to do on basic cable. But once it hit Netflix, I think it just went into this like place where it was like, what is that? What, you know, it was just out of anybody's sort of expectation of what that means based on like the minutes and the hours that people would watch. So anyway, Harvey, the character of Harvey, a lot of people have said is, you know, he has made some sort of impact in the idea that he is somewhat iconic. There's, you know, he's aspirational. There's some people want to be him. Some, it's like, it's all of that kind of thing. And he had a very specific style, and that was part of the character. And that style, you would think, oh, is he going to go, if this guy Gabriel gets any opportunity from this successful show, whatever, maybe he's going to, you know, link arms with somebody who, you know, makes suits or whatever. And I started thinking about that, and I had a couple opportunities where like, hey, would you be interested in some clothing? And, you know, I'll always keep my, you know, the window open for that. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, do I want to become a designer or really have a because I'm very specific about the design element of a suit. And I thought, well, every season you need to change the design of a suit, or you need to add this fabric, you need to look at these materials, you need to do all of that sort of, that's a very artistic thing, you know, textiles and all that kind of stuff. And then I was thinking about it, all right, well, what else was Harvey kind of known for? And he liked his whiskey. And so he drank, and he had his challenges, and he would drink at the end of a day when he was trying to work out his challenge, but he also drank when he had some successes. And, you know, I think it's like the full spectrum. And so when I got a call from my lawyer saying, hey, these guys are looking for a brand ambassador and actually a partner, would you be interested in this startup?
Right.
I was like, oh, that is a great idea. This is something that I can, you know, be a part of, because I want to be a creative, you know, a creative in it. I don't know the business element of it all. I don't know the economics. And so when we had we had a long conversation where we met, and this was something that was very inspiring to me, to be involved with a team, you know, a distribution team or a marketing team, you know, the teams that all know what they're doing, and to sort of, you know, look to me and go, how can we create a narrative that makes sense? And so it was with Anthony and a couple other people that we put some people together, and we created a narrative. And that was what was really driving me to be involved and become entrepreneurial in a way, because I've done some ambassador, you know, brand ambassador stuff, and I continue to do it. But on this level, it's just way more creative. And I'm just having a ball doing it. So that's where we sort of came into it.
Yeah, heck yeah. It sounds like art starts to imitate life. Life imitates art, right?
That's right. And what I also think was sort of a departure was, if you look up Gabriel Macht, you're probably going to say, oh, I know that's the guy from Suits. And so he is a very sort of, you know, top shelf guy, and he's type A and all this stuff. He's very aggressive and you know, he wears a suit like an armor and all this stuff. Well, in some ways I'm very much like him, but in many, many ways I'm not. I'm the opposite. And that was another part that was very sort of alluring to me, is that Bearfight is really a drink for me. You know, it's something that Gabriel likes. It's not really a Harvey drink. It is way more approachable. It's a little bit more, you know, it's a little bit more, how would I say, just like, I don't know, a little bit more humble but playful.
Yeah, a
You
little.
know,
I feel like it's a little tongue in cheek. I saw plenty of episodes
Yeah.
of Suits, and your character is all the things you described. But then I just recently, you know, getting ready for this episode, saw the commercial that you posted on your website of you kind of fighting a guy in a bear suit, right? And taking a very tongue in cheek approach about that, and it really gives some like levity to the brand, but it also like lightens up your persona and shows that you are not that character. You are Gabriel, right?
Right.
And Gabriel and I really connected over the idea of what's your bear fight, how small or big that may be. And while we wanted to approach it as this really tongue-in-cheek, playful thing on our first launching of this idea of what's your bear fight, by him truly getting his butt whooped by a bear, which was great for ratings. It was more about like, now we can get a little deeper. Like now we can double click into this. What's your bear fight mean? I said it last week to Gabriel when we were on a call, and just happens to be a consistent fight of mine. But you know, my bear fight tends to be every night, like getting my kids to sleep. Like I feel pretty accomplished once I've gotten them down. It's a good time to pour a dram. So like it could be that simple. And Gabriel and I connected on this because even Gabriel describing Gabriel versus Harvey is one of his bear fights, right? What's the next step? And I think Gabriel, it's always good to share a little bit about that, because it's really what connected us together when we were talking about this brand.
Yeah, I think as we tried to figure out what it means, we just wanted to take it to a different level, to just a different sense of like, you make a name for something, often it doesn't have a story that goes along with it. And this is something that actually really resonates, because we all have our challenges, every single one of us. Nobody gets out of this alive without having any challenges on every level, big or small. You could be dealing with, you know, the most difficult grief that you're going through, and that is a fight. That is a bear fight. You could be just really having the most impossible time working out if you're going to clean the dishes tonight so that you wake up to a nice clean kitchen in the morning. I mean, everyone has their sort of, you know, that sensibility. And I thought that if we can get that conversation going, that's what can resonate with people. And like, what was your bear fight? I mean, it was like, I don't know why we haven't even thought of, you know, making a drinking game. Like, what's your bear fight, and who can compete?
This is the arena to do that, man.
Most likely legal, but we'll come back to that. It's going to go viral.
The rest
right
of the
after
show is
this.
just going to be us hashing out the rules.
Now I have to open my bear fight.
I got my bear fight open over here. And this actually tees up a question that I have been curious about for a while, because there has been a lot of discourse in Southern Eyes world about celebrity brands lately. And they're interesting, but they're also kind of a black box. You know, it's tough to tell exactly how much input the person whose name and face is on the bottle has in what actually went into that bottle. And like, I don't know, I'm a little skeptical that like Guy Fieri and like Eddie Van Halen are actually like down there in Jalisco making the tequila, but I could be wrong. That's the thing, is we just don't know. So I would love to hear directly from you, Gabriel, kind of like, what is an average day like for you at Bearfight HQ?
Well, the truth is, the average day is really about coming up with ideas, and it's about working out what the narrative is and how are we going to take this campaign and go the next level. What is it that I'm working on now, and how can I include this actual we've got this guy Frank. I don't know if you've met Frank. Frank the bear is actually the guy.
I was literally being like, Frank, why does that name sound familiar? I was like, oh, Frank from the Super Bowl commercial. Yeah, that Frank.
Yeah. So he's actually, we got a picture of him, and that's the bear on the actual, on the bottle, right? And so he's an actual bear that speaks English. It's so weird. We found him in the forest, and he's got his own bear fights, and so we have been, doing a lot of brainstorming and trying to work out how life is for him and how life is for us. And we've just decided that's what my role is at the headquarters. We're just working out how can we get this story out. That's where I'm involved.
Right.
Anthony's involved, looking at with he's doing most of the other work, and he can speak to that. But for me, it's really about how do we get the vision out there? How do we get that story out there?
You're in the bear den cooking up the ideas.
And Greg, to your question, celebrity brands are a question I get a lot. And I always say it's not about celebrity or non-celebrity for me. It's, do you have the right partner? Next Century, we partner with Kenny Chesney on a brand. Well, he's invested all his own money and time and energy. The brand embodies him in Blue Chair Bay. We just launched a tequila with Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, and Pochofino Tequila was built. And we spent years together doing it. And he's talking about, these are the heritage stories of these people. It's legacy. And Gabriel approaches it the same way. And so, celebrity is super powerful because it's what we all follow. It's what we all, it's a part of American culture and international culture. You just have to be true to yourself. When Gabriel and I first met, I was like, well, you're going to have to work, right? You're going to have to come on podcasts, and we're going to talk about the brand. You're going to have to believe and love the brand. And, if you don't come here and be creative,
right.
I'm not as creative as you are. I need you for this. And so I always say, as long as you truly have a real partnership and are adept at having hard conversations like Gabriel and I do as well, with each other, it's a beautiful thing. If you don't, if it's superficial, if it's a paper relationship, then,
I also would just, to be fully transparent, I'm not somebody who's in there tasting, and I get some samples over and I'm like, yeah, I like this, or I don't like this, or this is great, or most of the time I'm like, this is awesome, I'm good with it, because I also think the best idea wins. There are specialists that are doing that. There are specialists that are running the business, specialists doing the marketing, and so I feel like best idea wins. I'm not that guy who's in there going, oh, how am I going to distill this? For me, you guys know more about this stuff than I do. I can say, hey, look, this moves me. This is a narrative that makes sense because I think it just like crosses everywhere. It's just everywhere, everyone can relate to it. And when you can't relate to it, just fall back on, it's actually really approachable and it tastes great.
Sure, and relax and fall back on the notion that you're surrounded by professionals who know what they're doing, and everybody has their role, right?
If you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, I've got some bad news for you. You are only getting about 60 to 70% of the conversation that we had today with our guest. But if you want to hear the whole thing, you can join us and become a regular on our Patreon.
That's right. To hear the rest of the conversation, join us on our Patreon, become one of our regulars, and you'll receive all kinds of perks, including ad-free listening, so you won't have to hear us do this again.
And in addition to ad-free listening and longer shows, you are also going to get cocktail recipes from all of our guests, access to our live monthly hangouts, and a free cocktail kit each and every month from our good friends at Shaker and Spoon.
So head over to Patreon and become a regular of the Speakeasy. We'd love to have you there. Cheers. So, Anthony, I just wanted to touch on, I know you have a crowdfunding campaign out right now. What are your goals? How far along are you? And, just generally, how's it going?
So I'll start with the goals. We set out to do this crowdfund for two reasons. And we did a lot of research because we've never done this before. And we set out to do something hopefully unique. And I know other people have done it before. But for us, we thought about this idea of approachable, disruptive, distinctive, on everyone's bar. How do we approach a fundraise where we have done one other fundraise with Bearfight that had, let's call it professional dollars in, right? So VC funds and whatnot. We wanted to do this in a way where we could invite our fans and our consumers along for the journey and truly be a part of the brand. we said before, we want 10 seconds of your time. We want to talk about what's your Bearfight. We want to be a brand that is of the people. At the same time, I talk about heritage. We want to create our heritage, and we thought it would be really cool and unique to have our fans be a part of our growth story. No one at this company, other than a few select of us, wanted to open the kimono on our financials and our business. It was completely uncomfortable to many people. And at the same time, this is not one of those crowd funds where we are giving just cool experiences and the book of Gabriel Macht's life. It's truly to own equity, the same equity Next Century has and Gabriel has, and a unit's a unit. So that was important to us to do that the right way, whether we failed or were super successful. And right now we're kind of middle of the road. I don't want to talk about our exact financial goals, but we are not achieving those. At the same time, it's not a failure. It has been a journey. I've learned quite a bit. I don't know if I would do it again, but what has been successful is the engagement level, the level of questions and conversations we're having with our consumers. A lot of people putting a small amount of their hard-earned dollars into it, and us engaging directly with those folks. There is no hotline for Bearfight that's answering these questions. It's us. Maybe not Gabriel as much as me and my team, but it's us. And so I would say our goals are always very ambitious. If we ever hit our goals, they're home runs on anyone's scale. I think it's achieved creating a bond between us and our consumers, or a large swath of our consumers. And that's been the really great part of this. From a pure financial perspective, I don't know if it hit our wildest ambitions, but once again, we always set pretty high goals for ourselves. It's just kind of part of life.
Yeah. I mean, goals are important, man. You gotta have the, what's the point of trying to do something if you're not trying to do something big and incredible, right?
My team never thinks I'm happy.
My company did a crowdfunding as well, and I think similarly, we I operate my life by the I never lose. I either win or I learn, and we definitely learned a lot. But I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said what it really created for us was a narrative and a connection to our consumer, and now and that connection is bonded and it lasts forever. So I think that, again, even if you don't hit the total goal you were looking for, you're going to get something out of it. And what you're really going to get out of it is a connection to your audience. And, I'm sure Gabriel would back that up too, as an actor on stage in front of the camera. Connection with the audience is literally all there is, right? So
absolutely,
I applaud what you're doing.
I do have to admit, though, all of that being said, that I got a little nervous, like secondhand anxious, when I heard about the crowdfunding campaign that you all were doing. For no other reason than because my old boss, Brewdog, has been taking a lot of flack in the press recently because they ran a huge retail investor program for years, and then they recently sold their company at much less than the valuation that they were quoting even like 2 years ago. And a lot of those retail investors kind of got hosed. Now you seem like very fine people who are not in this business to screw anybody over, but I want to ask, as this is becoming a more mainstream model for funding some of these smaller brands, what sort of guardrails are you putting in place to make sure that the people who are part of this community and who are believing in this story get what they're paying for?
Yeah, I think there's 3 principles we're trying to stay true to. One, this is an investment. And the goal of our entire being is to raise the value of that investment. The way you can know we're going to do what's best by the business is that it's the same exact equity that we get, right? And so what's good for me is good for you. And that's a contract with any investor I have, whether it's a crowdfund or a typical fundraise that are done through other channels. But it is an investment, and there's risk to every investment. And transparently investing in a consumer product versus your 401k is a different level of risk. And so we try to talk about that as much as we can. We put it, we put it on the investment pages and as we discuss it. And it's very important to us because I don't want anyone to walk away saying they lied to me. No, frankly, it's all there. All the information's there and everything. And as I like to say, we either all eat together or we're gonna, not be super pumped up about what the answer is, but we believe enough in the brand to be working it and putting our futures behind it. And Gabriel and I had to hold hands on that together. Hey, we believe in this. Let's do this together. So I think that's the biggest contract I have, and by contract I mean truly as a human to human with the folks investing, is that we're in this together. And as a company, Next Century Spirits invests. My biggest investors in NCS have invested in Bearfight. We've invested our time and have equity in it. So, and a lot of employees at Next Century Spirits have invested into Bearfight during the crowdfund. So we have all put our money where our mouth is as well because of that verbal contract that we have with our consumers. That being said, there's probably more stories, Greg, like yours, and there is amazing success stories. And I hope we're the one to change that narrative, because we are treating this like a long-term business that we believe in. This is not a fly-by-night. This isn't quick cash grab. This is our second fundraise, not our first. We have really great people involved with this business from top to bottom. And so we're looking to be the trendsetters, not followers on this. We want to be disruptive. We want to be engaging with our consumers. And so this is a part of that path for us. But it doesn't come without other stories out there, Greg. I just know that we're committed to this long term. So we felt bullish enough to put our reputations out there. And it's a small industry, both of you.
And I think I have become, America's foremost BrewDog apologist. I think they're a very easy company to villainize in the press, probably because a lot of their stuff is juvenile, asinine, and stupid. But sometimes there's a place for juvenile, asinine, and stupid things. But the criticism of their crowdfunding and their equity campaign always felt a little bit unfair to me, because having worked for them and having seen what it was like when it was rolled out, it was almost a loyalty program and a community that they were building that came with this almost like lottery ticket built into it, where like, if we sell the company for billions of dollars one day, and if this all goes very, very well, that will work out. But in the meantime, we're happy to have you here along for the ride. We like that you love this company enough to be literally invested in it, and we want to give you some perks and some community along the way. Sounds like that is a little bit of the program you're trying to build as well.
Other than we hold the same lottery tickets. There is no other way, right? And
that's a huge difference.
Yeah. And so for us, we were presented a lot of structures, right? People pitch you things all the time. That's part of our lives. As Gabriel was talking about, the marketing programs he gets pitched and stuff like that. You get pitched all these things. We didn't feel comfortable having it in a way where we all win together. Or we all fight together to make sure we find a path to a win. There's no losing, as we said, Southern. So that's been our approach with this.
It sounds like you're really describing the sort of the Bearfight analogy that you made earlier. This is your whole core group's Bearfight is to make this thing a success. And speaking of its success, I'm sipping on the Kentucky Reserve. You sent me 2 bottles. I've got the Kentucky Reserve and the American Single Malt, which you spoke about earlier. And I would ask both of you, and maybe Gabriel can jump in and speak, like, which of these maybe is your favorite? Which do you like more? How do you like enjoying them?
I mean, I like the American Single Malt. I like to drink it straight. I like to drink it in my home while I'm playing some billiards. I mean, I just think it's just a nice, calm, nice space to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love all my children equally, obviously. But
yes, but which one do you like the most?
The American Single Malt, because we were built off of it, truly. It showed what we could do. It gave us a reason for being and belonging. And it made me explore. So I ended up drinking in espresso martinis and old fashions and Manhattans and all sorts of different places. I mean, an espresso martini, that smoke, to me, was perfect. And so to me, of course, I drink it on the rocks. I'm a cigar smoker. When I smoke a cigar, it's usually with the Kentucky Reserve because it replaces the smoke I get from the ASM. And I like the reposado cast that I get from the bourbon, but the ASM, American Single Malt, to me, is our reason for being and the reason you should explore the rest of our line as we continue to grow. So yeah, that's my baby, the first baby. Even though I love them all the same, the first one has a special spot in your heart. And that's what I'm drinking today too, since you guys inspired
It's quite
me.
warming.
Yes, come join us. It's hard work over here drinking on the radio, but someone's got to do it.
Yeah, I have to go back into corporate meetings after this, so you're my excuse.
I always say that this is tasting. Drinking is what I did on Friday. This is just tasting. It's a totally different part of your brain that gets engaged.
Yeah. And your liver.
No, same part of the liver. The liver's suffering no matter what, but it knows what it signed up for. I want to circle back to something that you've raised a couple of times that just kind of piqued my curiosity a little bit. You mentioned that y'all have had some hard conversations as you were developing this brand. And I think everyone loves to say they have hard conversations. No one likes to have hard conversations. And so given the caveat that this is a safe space here, could you give me an example of what some of those hard conversations would be? Give us a little insight into how this brand was shaped and formed.
Gabriel, would you like to go first, or would you like me to take the first swing?
I mean, yeah, I think you should probably take the first one.
I would say, and I say this, we are a young spirits brand, and we have young budgets, and we operate accordingly, right? I mean, we are here to fight and scrap. Meanwhile, Gabriel has beautiful visions of really successful campaigns and ideas and stuff that I want to execute almost everything that comes out of Gabriel's brain as he kind of puts it to paper and brings it to the team. And I think picking one direction is always the hardest, or picking one thing to be our focus from a creative perspective, because we don't have 100 opportunities to communicate with the consumer. We have one moment. So when we say hard conversations, it's not like we're going to, I'm not Frank the Bear jumping on them from the top of the stanchion. But
That wasn't you in the costume?
No comment.
There's no, what costume are you talking about? It's not a costume. He's an actual bear.
A major ecological discovery here.
It is.
Yeah. I think those are the things where, it's not perfect the first time you talk about it. It's not like we get in a room and Gabriel puts it on paper, we go great, and we go do it. And so I call it health. It's good, healthy tension. It makes us better. And I think especially on this "What's Your Bear Fight" ideology, it's evergreen. We could do it forever. We can dig in deep and double click into some depth. We can be lighthearted. It could be in the moment in culture. There is no ending to it. It's like keep walking with Johnny Walker if you execute it right. There's always a way you can be relevant. And so when to take a certain direction with "What's Your Bear Fight," I would say is, once again, these aren't fights. They're good tension moments that make us better. Unless Gabriel sees it otherwise. Gabriel?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, I think we all have. I think I chalk them up as real challenges, right? Mm-hmm. And we want to do them. Look, I think what really worked for us getting out of the gates. You talk about you want to build a heritage, right? A lot of these whiskey brands, there's so much history involved, and it's a little stuffy. I don't want to be negative, but it's a little stuffy, a little conservative. It's a little like just tried and true and all this stuff. And
or marketing, like long marketing stories from places like where I used to work.
Right. And I think there's something about what you talked about with, when you first threw the Bearfight, when you came up with the name of Bearfight, it was very much a happy accident. My business of creating, only the great gems are when you have an accident and it becomes something that, wow, there's a little light bulb that goes off, or it becomes a creative thing. So many of the moments that I find work in any storytelling may have come from some happy accident. Anyway, you take that and you add this story of like, what is your biggest challenge? I mean, like, again, it can be really, really just non-consequential, or it could be really life-changing. It could be how you want to show up every day, what it is about your own sense of being and how you present in the world. And it could also just be like, oh my gosh, I bumped my hand into a piece of wood and scratched my hand, and like Mr. Magoo, you could just have Mr. Magoo moments, and that, everyone's going through this stuff. But I think it's, at the end of the day, it's quality. That's what's sort of driving the narrative. Quality research, quality people, producing the writing, So we want to just take it to another level of interesting writing and really personal, trying to get personal. And you'll see in the campaign that comes out of this, there's some good stuff coming out.
I would just add in that my worldview dictates that nothing cool is easy, and you guys are doing something very cool, and that's not easy. So I'm behind it. And by the way, if I didn't say it earlier, this it's my first taste of this expression. I usually kind of reserve judgment till I'm halfway through a bottle, so I can really give some good feedback. But my first sip of this whiskey, it's delicious, and the price point is quite appealing.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
I feel the same. I second that.
Yeah,
I second that emotion.
God, I hope so.
Well, guys, this has been fantastic having you on the show. We really, really appreciate you both coming on and sharing your time and your stories with us. There's one last question we'd like to ask all of our guests that come on here, which is, where are you drinking these days? Anthony, I know you're based in Raleigh. Gabriel, you're kind of based everywhere. So are there some local faves that y'all want to shout out?
Chez Gabriel is an amazing place. It's in my
exclusive
garage.
though.
But a couple of the bars that I am a fan of, they've like all closed down. When I was in New York, Lucky Strike was a favorite of mine. The Dresden Room in Los Feliz in California, in Los Angeles. It's kind of a bummer that some of these bars have closed down already. But through COVID, I think there's some, everyone's got their challenge, right?
Hey, listen, nothing wrong with hanging out in your own house with. It sounds like you have a billiards table and sipping on some whiskey that you had a hand in making. Like that sounds like the best place to drink to me.
It's a bit of the dream, right?
Yeah. Anthony, years and years and years ago, so nothing is the same. I used to live in Durham, North Carolina. So I know you're there in Raleigh. You got some spaces in Raleigh that you like to drink. You want to shout out?
So luckily, I'm actually in Fairfield, Connecticut. Our operations are down there, but I'm in we have a little corporate office up here. And while my profile is just as big as Gabriel's, so it's very tough to go out without, fans swimming all over me. There is a place down the street here in Fairfield, Connecticut called Rybird. And it is one of those places you go to. It's about a year old, but it's got this really old school vibe to it. And the bartenders are skilled but not pretentious. So I walk in and I say, I'm having a problem, right? And they have enough of my brands to be dangerous. I'm having a problem. I'm trying to solve for this. Can you make me a drink that tastes kind of like this? And all of a sudden I have 3 different cocktails in front of me. And I get charged for them, but it is a great way to solve a problem, because if I didn't solve it in that moment, at least I've had 3 cocktails. And it's one of those places, and I say this because Fairfield is basically a suburb of New York. It's always $10 cocktails. And that is just the most affordable, great cocktails you can get anywhere. And so I can walk there from my office. It's next to the train station. It solves for a lot of issues I have throughout a week, whether I just need the release or I'm actually trying to solve a cocktail problem for a menu or a partner, et cetera. So, it's a new haunt for me, but it's been great.
Fantastic.
And I hope the owner at least give me 1 free drink after this comes out, because I feel like I earned 1.
I mean,
that's actually, with that ad, you definitely earned 1, and I will be sure to check out it's like 1 in every 10 New Yorkers, when you ask them where the best pizza is, they say Connecticut. So one of these days I'm going to have to go up there and check it out too. I'll swing by.
I will be your host. I would love to be your host.
I'm looking forward to it. And if our listeners wanted to follow along on y'all's exploits, where can they find you? Are you on Instagram.com? Where's a good space for everyone to keep up with what you're doing?
You can, I don't know. Yeah, we've got, just search me and you'll find my Instagram, I guess. And
Go to your internet browser and type Gabriel Macht into it. You'll fit.
Yeah.
It'll do the work for you.
yeah,
Bearfight on Instagram will be a really great place to follow the trials and tribulations of our brand in all the fun ways possible. Gabriel's a good follow too. I'm a little more boring, so I would say Bearfight and Gabriel are really great starts.
I think we're all over the place. But, you should also go see Frank the Bear. He's got his own Instagram.
Ah,
I
there
don't
we
know
go.
how he's got it. It's weird. He's got his own page. It's like this ecological mystery. I think he's going to take this space like how what was it called? Bigfoot.
Oh
It's
yeah.
kind of like Bigfoot is a character, right? I mean, this guy is actually real. It's weird. It's really weird.
Well, and I saw something on his Instagram. It looked like he said he was close to cracking cold fusion. So it's cool that like he's not only a spokesperson spokesbear for this brand, but also,
Yes.
really helping to solve a lot of the world's major climate problems as well.
That's right. And I appreciate you correcting yourself because he is a bear.
Yeah.
Yes. Wanted to make sure I got that right. If I didn't, we'll just fix it in post. Gentlemen, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. That is going to do it for us this week. But if you want more of the Speakeasy, you can become a regular on our Patreon. Our regulars get longer shows, ad-free shows, a free cocktail kit each and every single month from our good friends at Shaker and Spoon, and access to our live monthly hangouts, which is going to be happening for us tonight. For you, by the time you're listening to it, it will have happened in the past. So go back in time, ask Frank how that works, and tune in for it. And otherwise, we will see you at the one in April. This is also a good time to check back in with Sauced. We haven't had our Sauced updates on the show in a while, but Souther, what's new over there?
Next episode to drop on Sauced is going to be fish and chips, which I'm anxiously awaiting because I think people are going to be psyched to see it. And then we're canning carne asada because we're going to be gone to LA. I'm a judge at LA Spirits, so we're going to be gone to LA to do LA Spirits, so we won't be in the recording studio. But man, people are really engaging with the show. They are. I'm really impressed that the show drops at 5 a.m. on Thursdays, and people don't know what show's coming up next. And they listen to the show at some point during the day. They go shopping. They come home from work or whatever they have to do. They cook the dish and drink and make the drink. And then they're posting stuff on their Instagram. It's blowing me away how many people are engaging with the show, and it really makes it feel fulfilling, and I love it. So check out Sauced.
It's nice to have fans, isn't it?
It really is.
And if you are a fan of our show, be sure to tune in next week when our guest is going to be Robbie Dow of Bespoke, also down in North Carolina. I had the chance to meet him IRL at Grand Army about, oh my God, a whole human year ago now. And his bar is fantastic. I've been hearing a lot of really amazing stuff about it. Excited to have him on to talk about the build out for that. So be sure to tune in next week. But for now, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, gang.
So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil runs his groove in them rhythm and blues that sound. It's gonna